Check out this Keir Starmer clip. It's very it illustrates the point.
With the police. There's a broader issue here. The Black Lives Matter movement, or moment, if you like, internationally, is about reflecting something completely different, and it's reflecting on what happened dreadfully in America just a few weeks ago, and showing or acknowledging that as a moment across the world. And it's a shame it's getting tangled up with these organisational issues, with the organisation Black Lives Matter, but I wouldn't have any truck with what the organisation is saying about defunding the police or anything else. That's just nonsense.
I've heard a lot of reports from the UK that this guy's like a great communicator. I got to say, as someone who's very partial to sort of dubious, ethically dubious British politicians who represent the Labour Party, meaning Tony Blair, no, this guy is not a polished communicator. But
Yeah.
that's just exactly what you're talking about right there.
Mhm.
Like, it's just like he's a mediating power because he's the head of the Labour Party. He just completely disgustingly and arrogantly dismisses core demand, and then goes and just blows the whole thing up.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's just, obviously the core policy demand, that's stupid, I'll dismiss that. What it's really about is
what happened over there.
not what happened over there, so I won't even get into the potential small-scale reforms we could do here that might parallel it.
Guess I was in London in 2011 when the Tottenham riots happened because of a police killing a guy. It seemed a lot like it's like a precursor, and like Europe, they riot more readily over there. So it was crazy. Like 3,000 people got arrested. You got, and I've been mentioning this, but there's a 2001 version of Othello that has Othello take over the Metropolitan Police, black guy. And it's amazing because like one of the cops is like secretly racist and posting on Nazi message boards. It's like you got. It's not just over here, pal.
No, I guess there's a lot of material, but you see, I mean, exactly. And did you just see how he does that? What do you think of the core demand? Well, I mean, that's obviously not the core demand.
Yeah.
What it really is vague, symbolic nonsense. And of course, Keir's press team, of course, they put out a picture of him kneeling.
Mm-hmm.
That happened weeks ago. It's about a broad acknowledgement, actually, and very specifically acknowledgement that has nothing to do with anything I might have any control over.
Mm-hmm.
And then just to reiterate, I wouldn't want the demands and policy goals of Black Lives Matter to confuse Black Lives Matter.
Oh,
I say as a former fucking prosecutor. That is the most, one of the most, I mean, just presentationally, it doesn't get more disgusting and egregious than that. But even beyond that, I mean, that's what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we'll talk more about it in the postgame, but I mean, like the idea, like that McDonald's, which systemically abuses and exploits at a hugely high rate its labor force across the board, but obviously representing a lot of people of color, and very consciously as a brand, not just now. McDonald's is actually a pioneer in segment marketing, I think they used to call it. Very conscious of this brand stuff, talking about using its social media to talk about amplifying Black voices.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not just that you're defining the demands. You're really violently contradicting it.
Well, this is not to get us down a rabbit hole, but another great one, right? Is Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan, the largest American bank, I believe, sitting here and taking a knee. Someone who just, like, organizationally, I know that bank has serious like problems, with diversity and racial bias, and they've had some very high profile lawsuits on that, but also materially in general, is a system of finance that's based on the exploitation of poor working Americans, and people of color in this country. I mean, it's just, it's beyond parody, as the tweet says, but it's amazing how those organizations have stepped up to try to completely make the movement and the meaning of it meaningless. But we have all this good stuff.
We're going to do all this. We're going to talk about the dangers of white fragility and all of this trash. And again, there's a parallel between turning it into a branding and HR co-optation, and then the toxicity and terrorism of social media to try to reduce it to some individual morality tale and not a material political demand that is rooted in the historical traditions of this country, as Bill Fletcher Jr. pointed.
You just watched a Michael Brooks show video. Subscribe to get them all. Why wouldn't you? Don't be foolish. Click subscribe below and become a patron as well. Patreon.com/TMBS. Thanks, everybody.